welcome to Artists at Work. I'm George Alexander Thompson.
And I'm Ra Petherbridge.
It's lovely to be back. Sorry.
We spoke over each other. It's fine. It's fine. This episode is featuring Phil of The Sensitive Line. He is a scenic friend of ours that we met at the Unicorn. We're going to be interviewing him later, talking about drawing, seeing, and how it's important to look, as well as talking about all things that we usually talk about, George.
It's really exciting. I can't believe I've got to the end of our
chapter
3rd season.
Yeah.
Like, it's really exciting. This podcast has been going so well. I've left my phone on and Phil's beautiful drawings of naked men keep flashing up.
It's beautiful.
My phone. It's rather distracting, so I'm going to turn that off.
Maybe we should start with just saying what his Instagram is, so everyone can look at that first and then have a little look. And
that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I think go to the Instagram is The Sensitive Line.
Yeah.
Phil is an incredible draftsman, life drawer, scenic artist. His drawing is so profoundly beautiful. And when we looked at The Sensitive Line, we were like, oh, that's a bit of an odd thing to call your Instagram. And as soon as we saw the drawings, we were like, like,
it's a sensitive line, because I heard it as lion, like, and I was like, lion, okay, the sensitive line, I get it. But no, line, sensitive line.
It's so different to the way that I draw. Like, I use very like strong kind of deliberate quick marks.
I'm done.
His work is so
intentional.
Yeah, really intentional use of line. It's incredible.
Today we're recording in the kitchen on Arabin Road. It's our producer Alex McKenzie's house. He's got a lovely little setup here. It's very homely. We've had padron peppers. I won't lie, we've had a little bit of champagne.
We've had a gorgeous lunch. Bit of cheese, bit of ham, bit of padron peppers. Very tapas.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of sharing and we're in a very good space. Phil is going to be joining us very soon. And George, would you like to give us some news?
So my first bit of news, because this felt like a really full circle moment and you get a present at the end of it.
Oh, thanks.
About a year ago, I did those illustrations for the Fashion Textile Museum that went on cards in their gift shop that Annie Caudry sorted out for me. They're absolutely beautiful. In love with Zandra Rhodes, who runs the Fashion Textile Museum.
Your best friends?
Best friends. She loves me. We've never met, but she'd love me. She has just launched a line of homeware at IKEA. And I've never been a fan of IKEA. I've never shopped there. I've never liked flat pack furniture.
Fucking love IKEA.
Everyone I fucking talk to, I see a nice coffee table, it's from IKEA. I see a good wardrobe, it's from IKEA. Like, everyone's obsessed. But now that Zandra has done a line, I'm obsessed. And we went to the one in Greenwich. I was working at Create 180 and it launched the day that we were working there. So I was like, look, let's take a long lunch and all go shopping. And it's actually really, really beautiful. It's all her gorgeous illustrations on cushions and blankets. And I bought a lot of stuff. It's fabulous. It's really, really nice. She redesigned the classic blue IKEA bag with her own take on what that should look like.
Yeah.
And I have one for you.
George.
It's your new kit bag.
Oh, stop, babe. It's pink. It's hot pink. Okay, so George just handed me a hot pink bag. It's very rustly. Okay, ASMR for you there. I'm opening it up. Okay, so it is an IKEA. Oh, I love it. It's a semicircle instead of a rectangle. And it's got a folded frill all around the side, like a ruff. I'm going to open it up. Oh,
isn't it gorgeous?
God.
It's a vagina.
It's like a vagina bag. And it's got a little...
it's got a vagina.
Little, I love it.
It's got pops so that you can have it slightly closed or you can open it all the way.
Okay. So it's a really well-designed bag and it's really... I would say it's kind of feminine mask all at the same time and hot pink.
Yeah, it's incredibly Zandra, if I can say something.
So
like
Google IKEA Zandra Rhodes bag and you'll see what I'm holding in my hands. George, that's a really lovely gift.
It's really gorgeous. And honestly, like, I didn't know how keen I would be on the collection. And the cushions, I bought 2 of them. I bought this beautiful gold blanket with all of her patterns and design. It's got the frill around the edge. One cushion that I didn't buy is like a semicircle gold with patterns on it with the frill round. Like, it's really, really lovely. And I think this is what hit me about it. It's really lovely to see a very eccentric, over-the-top designer taking over a space that is a minimal, kind of easy-to-use place to shop. Yeah. Because it feels like people are getting a bit more into the maximalist thing, which I've always been into. And it's less like, ooh, chic, white, like minimal. It's like, no, have some fucking frills. More is more. Like, go for it. So that really excited me.
Oh,
That's part of my
great.
news.
Oh,
And
I
also
got,
we're
I
best
got a
friends.
gift. Oh yeah, and you.
That's my list of things to do, not my news.
He has lists now. George puts lists now. Lists.
Oh, I work in television.
George, do you? Because so I was listening to one of our podcasts from this season with Zoe Belton, episode 2 of season 3 with Zoe Belton, all about the Great Pottery Throwdown. And you say in that episode that you largely work in theatre. That has now changed. You largely work in television.
I largely work in television. Sophie Irish from Create 180 has taken me under her wing.
Absolute hero.
And we've worked over the summer. I've been working with her for the last 2 months solidly. We've worked on some really exciting projects. One I'm not allowed to talk to about, but it's about Amazon. Amazon have done a new TV show that we did the art direction for. She did the art direction for. I did the art assisting for. And then a show called I Can See Your Voice. We just did amazing stuff. Like, you know how I hate vinyling? Vinyled a grand piano gold. A black grand piano vinyled at gold. It's just been really fun. Like, it's really intense. It's really complicated. It's very different to how I normally work in theatre. But I have absolutely loved it. And it feels like it's a new stage of work for me where I can make that
I'm
a
really
priority.
proud of you. You golded up a piano.
It's really fun.
It's amazing.
We glittered a golf buggy. We did a lot of really cool stuff.
George,
on this
it's incredible. I'm so proud of you for making that change as well. It's so interesting. You're learning so much more and you're really getting sharp work out. And
I really love it.
you're with one of our heroes, Sophie Irish.
Yeah, she's the best.
I have some news
What is
hot
your
off the
news?
press. Phil's surname is Douglas.
Phil Douglas, of course it is.
It's Phil Douglas. We knew that.
Phil Douglas, we did know that.
We
Not
did know
seen
that.
it.
Anyway, but he's going to be joining us later on. My news is that I have gone offline.
Yes, you told me about this. We had a long conversation about it.
Now, for many reasons in my life, I have gone offline. As you know, this whole season has been the kickoff of my divorce. That has become somewhat of a full-time job for me. And not entirely, but being online and being on the internet, being on social media has just been too much. I have put it down, not forever. It does affect this podcast. So if you want to get in touch with us, it's artiststhatAreworking@gmail.com or our Patreon, which is patreon.com/artiststhatwork. You can still get in touch with us or support us. But right now, social media is not my friend. I don't want it. I don't need it. I'm working really hard on being family focused at the minute, and that's okay.
I think that's really good. And it's really important to make those important. It's really important. It's really important to make those decisions because social media does take up a huge amount of our time. Instagram especially is like, for work, it's very important. Obviously, like that's how we get jobs. It's how we work. It's how we communicate with our peers. But equally, it's a new thing that humans have never had to deal with before.
Yeah.
And you do see people getting sucked in and it's a lot to deal with. It's hours of your day. It's not real. It's extra. And when you're going through a lot, I need to not
make
have the
life
extra
simple.
things,
I've whittled my immediate friendship group down to about 5 people. I've made my life quite small while I'm doing this journey. And when I get out the other side, well, I'll probably pick it all up again, but I've not missed it.
No, I think it's really nice to have that time. I mean, after I finished this big job that I did over the summer, I went and saw my mum. I spent a week with her, which was amazing. I saw my dad. I spent a few days with him. I've not seen either of them for a long time. And I wasn't on my phone. I didn't need my phone. I wasn't, there's no reception where either of them live. You don't need it. And sometimes it's really important to take a step back and say, right, what are my focuses? My focus is my family. My focus is this. Let's not have all the extra stuff involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, I don't want to say it's brave, but
it is
really
because like I'm really brave because it's kind of put a stop to my career to a certain extent, which I've kind of asked for to a certain extent, but at the same time, putting it down is kind of important at the minute. And like that leads on to my next bit of news. I have a brilliant book which comes with a workbook, and it's about children from separated families. It's called The Invisible Thread. And it's all about that there's an invisible thread connecting me to you, and it's love. And you can't see it, but it's always there and we're always together. It's very simple. It doesn't talk about mummy lives here and daddy lives there. It talks about there's an invisible thread connecting us and we're never apart. And it's been a really helpful tool for me in Phoenix to work through what's going on at the minute and help him at the age of 5 understand it. I highly recommend it to anyone who's going through it. It's really, really good.
It's really important. I think my parents split up when I was 16, and I was, I was an angry pothead goth, let's be honest. And I didn't find it that traumatic. Whereas my younger brother was 10 and he got so confused and he got so anxious and he got so worried. And I think it really affected him differently. Like, I don't want to say better or worse, or, like the way people cope with things is always going to be an individual emotional experience. But there are better tools and books and information out there for kids and parents now than there were 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would.
15 years ago.
You got to lean into them. There's a lot of stuff out there. The book is by, let me just get the name up so you guys can see it. It's by Patrice Karst. And it's been really helpful to me and Phoenix for understanding that separation anxiety that we all get, regardless to age. But I just wanted to put that in there. Oh my God,
we got it being away from each other over the summer. We were a fucking mess.
It was awful.
Like, I kept texting you photos of me being like, I'm still here. I still exist.
But George, there's an invisible thread of love connecting us. So
yeah, exactly.
Fine. My last bit of news is I'm doing a portrait of our friends Tim and Lauren, and it's divine.
Don't even start with me. It's so beautiful.
It's been a really enjoyable experience, and it loops into what we're going to be talking to with Phil Douglas, because I'm so technical and so mathematically led with my painting that like when I did the portrait of those two and I put it up, it was so mechanical. It looked, and I was like, yeah, it's perfect, but it didn't have flow. It didn't have that kind of busyness to it that your work invites. I spoke to Phil and I was like, I'm being overly kind of mechanical with this, and he's like, loosey goosey, draw some circles on a page. So I did, and it helped loosen it up. And that's my work at the moment, is painting a portrait of this beautiful affianced couple.
And they're both, they're stunning. And it's so funny that you say that about your painting style, because I totally see that. You've always hounded me for drawing a grid and getting the lines right and doing that. And then I have never worked like that, but I do occasionally get those, you know, when you remember lessons that you had years ago, like when we were teenagers and we were doing life drawing class, and they would be like, draw with your left hand, draw with one eye shut, draw like all
that shit,
rando shit, and you're like, ugh, what is going on? And actually, it's profoundly important. And I quite often now will get a big A1 piece of paper and just mark make. I'll get all my different pens and crayons and stuff, and I'll like draw lines and I'll draw circles and I'll do figures of eights. And then out of that, you'll get a mark.
Yeah.
And then
that
you're
feels
like,
like
oh,
you.
that's
how I do it.
You do that. You do that. And you don't want to have to think that you need those small exercises, but I find them so important now that I can't give them up.
Yeah, like just go live draw online in real life if you can. Like just go observe and see, like, because it stilted my portrait with Tim and Lauren, and I'm now getting on top of that.
Yeah, because you have to go back into it. And also, like, I think because my
stilted
work
is that a word?
Yeah, stilted. It's when it's just a bit like too perfect or jarring.
Yeah,
like it's just a bit correct. It's stilted. It's a bit dull. It doesn't have that flair.
Yeah, it didn't have any of me in it.
Yeah, and you've got to put you in it because that's why they want you to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's what they're paying for.
Poetry moment. This is called Phoenix's mum.
Oh, I like this one.
I got this text from an old friend, Thomas, who offered me a weekend of fun at his home in North London. He's great. I really admire him. He said, "You're an amazing ma'am. Look what you're sacrificing for your son. I'm so inspired. You're amazing. Can't wait to have you here and look after you both. All my love, Thomas." And I was like, okay. It's funny because nothing I do in my life feels like a sacrifice. Like, honestly. But I'll never give up sustaining my own well-being first. You know, I'll put on my oxygen mask first. But my life right now is to mind my son as best I can. So when I hand him over to an independent life, he'll make the best moral choices he can. And I'm committed to that, like I am to my photos and paintings. It's not a hard choice to put down my camera or brush in order to roar structure into your human that you made. I love being a mom. especially Phoenix's mum. End.
That's so special.
Thank you.
No,
I'm
I
glad
think
you
that's
liked
really
it.
special.
That's just
It's
honesty,
amazing.
isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's where art works its best self is, if you're honest about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a reflection of you right now, or the society right now.
So I don't have a poem. I came very ill prepared.
Oh,
However, Alex, our lovely editor and producer, has shown me a recipe which I'd quite like to read as a poem.
how adjacent.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
It's a Jamie Oliver at home recipe from his book Jamie at Home. I don't know which bits to read. Oh, that sounds good. Maybe I'll just read the whole thing.
Okay.
Probably take about a minute and a half.
Oh my God, that's a fucking long poem. It's also a recipe, so I'm interested to see how this
We'll
goes.
see how it goes.
Yeah, let's go.
And also my reading's not great, so it's going to be interesting. Crispy and sticky chicken thighs with squashed new potatoes and tomatoes.
It's incredibly salacious already.
This is a simple tray-baked chicken dish, the sort of food I absolutely love to eat. As every cook together in one tray, all the beautiful flavours get mixed up. This is what it's all about, with a green salad. It's an easy dinner. Put the potatoes in a large saucepan of salted boiling water and boil until cooked. While the potatoes are cooking, preheat your oven to 200 degrees. Cut each chicken thigh into 3 strips and place in a bowl. Rub the meat all over with olive oil and sprinkle with salt and pepper, then toss. Heat a large frying pan big enough to hold all the chicken pieces snugly in one layer and put the chicken into the pan, skin side down. If you don't have a pan that's big enough, feel free to cook the chicken in 2 batches. Toss and fry over a high heat for 10 minutes or so until almost cooked. Then remove with a slotted spoon to an oven-proof pan or dish. Prick the tomatoes with a sharp knife. Place them in a bowl, cover with boiling water and leave for a minute or so. Drain, and when cool enough to handle, pinch off their skins. You don't have to, but by doing this, they will become lovely and sweet when cooked, and their intense flavour will infuse the potatoes. By now, the potatoes will be cooked. Drain them into a colander, then slowly crush them by pressing down on them with your thumb. Bash up most of the oregano leaves with a pinch of salt in a pestle and mortar. For a flavour shaker, if you have one, add 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, a good splash of red wine vinegar and some pepper, and give everything another bash. Add to the chicken with the potatoes, the tomatoes and the rest of the oregano leaves. Toss everything together carefully. Spread out in a single layer in an appropriately sized roasting tray and bake for 40 minutes in the preheated oven until golden. Lovely, served with rocket salad dressed with some lemon juice and extra virgin olive oil and a nice glass of white wine. End.
Oh,
I'm bright red.
oh my God. George, I've seen you in a different light. That was like I've unbuttoned my shirt. I don't usually
I mean,
do
I'm not
that.
going to be able to stand up for about 20 minutes.
Jesus, I wasn't expecting that to make me so, my fanny's beating.
I've never read that recipe before. You showed it to me minutes ago. He's got away with words.
Well, that belongs in
No
the
wonder he
classifieds.
was called the Naked Chef for a while. Bloody hell. Pricking, tossing, bashing, baking, thumbing.
Press them with your thumb.
Press it with your thumb.
That was a fucking sexy recipe.
That was a romp.
I have to say, I was dubious about Poetry Moment, but it fucking turned me on.
Turned out good.
Turned out good.
Can we add slutty recipes as a new section?
Oh my
to the
God,
podcast?
it's very Rosal Pemble, baby, isn't it?
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's from episode 3 of this season, Rosie Pemble, baby.
So sexy.
That is just, what should we just call it? Salacious recipes.
Salacious recipe moment. Jesus fuck.
George.
I don't
I'm
know
all
where to
like,
go after
oh,
that.
my son is the center of my life. And you're like, smash me.
Smash
prick
my
me,
chicken.
peel me.
Smash me, prick me, peel me.
Welcome, Phil Douglas, to Artists at Work.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's so nice to have you. It feels like years ago that we were working at the Unicorn Theatre.
Was that the last time we saw each other?
Yeah, we've only met once.
Oh God,
Yeah,
stop.
I know, right? It's crazy. We met at the Unicorn Theatre. Rory and I were doing a touch-up day, and you were working on...
I was working on The Baby Show, which is it was their first show back
After COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was really lovely, really textural, and lots of a nice wooden floor to paint. And
It was lovely. You did this crackle glaze effect just with the sponge, and I was like, that's fucking amazing.
yeah, that was just working out things on the fly. I was like, oh, that's something you can do. That works. I don't know how to do it now. I'd have to play around again to see if I can work out how to do it.
Yeah, because somebody was like, how do I do that exact effect? They rang me and they were like, how do I do that? And I was like, I forgot. But
Yeah,
Phil Douglas did it.
Well, I did it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean I can do it again.
So much of our career is on the fly,
Well, it's
isn't
so
it?
funny, is it? Because I think like I do two different things. I either completely make it up and then no one will ever know how I did it, or I have a very strict method, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you do this, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then it looks fine.
Yeah.
But I'd never...
We should probably get you to introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Phil. I'm an artist in London, mainly scenic. I've just graduated. Just got my results the other day.
Oh, how'd you do?
Got first.
Yay!
Oh, that's such nice news. That's so good.
And where were you studying?
I was studying at Royal Central School of Speech and Drama.
Fantastic.
Oh, congratulations.
Wow, that just gave me goosebumps.
That's amazing.
Just our friend Phil got a first from RADA.
Central.
Central,
Not
sorry, did I
RADA.
say RADA?
Oh.
Sorry.
Edit that the fuck
Edit that out,
Edit that
sorry.
out.
There's
It's only
cunts at
because I
RADA.
was going to caveat that with you trained at RADA.
I trained it right.
You did RADA.
He did,
for
no,
a
he
week.
did a week.
Oh, it was just the lighting
I did,
design.
yeah, exactly.
The lighting design
Yeah, yeah.
course you
I
told,
actually
yeah.
went for your same course at Central.
Oh, really?
And I went to Bruford over Central because
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the Central building was a bit blocky for me.
Right. Do you know what? I went to Central for the opposite reasons of you probably went to Bruford.
Yeah.
When I went for my interview at Bruford, I felt very at home.
Okay.
And I felt very like, oh, this feels a little bit like college.
Yeah.
It feels very safe.
It is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice area, isn't it? Lots of trees and
It's a lake and there's
Yeah.
geese and it's really peaceful.
when I went to Central, I thought, fuck, this is not for me at all. This is so
Okay, that's exactly
Posh.
yeah.
and out there, and I'm not really going to fit in here.
Yeah.
But also, I'm supposed to push myself and put myself in an environment that isn't necessarily the most comfortable. And also, Central did have a really good reputation. Reputation.
Reputation. That's the word.
That's it.
Reputation.
Reputation.
But they do. Like, to be honest, there's they're all good schools.
Yeah.
Central is pretty.
But I love that you did that. I think there's a real power in going like, oh, I'm not comfortable here. Let's give this a go. That's fucking cool.
And it was after deferring for 2 years because I worked in a special needs school for 2 years.
Oh my goodness, what did you do?
I was a teaching assistant.
wow.
Yay.
So that was really fun. But by the end of that, I'd got my place in the first year of working there, and I deferred, so I had another year, which was great. I really enjoyed it. But towards the middle of the second year, I was like, I'm really ready to go now.
Yeah.
I'm really, really ready to get out there. And I was also coming to terms with my sexuality as well at that point.
Were
so
you not out at that point?
no. So
Okay.
at
Oh,
school, yeah, and then sort of towards the end of the year, I kind of got into space. I was like, I think I'm maybe bisexual. And I had this big meltdown outside of a gay club
Oh, no.
in Southend with my friends. I was like, I think I'm bi. And then, they were saying you don't need to put yourself in a box. And I was petrified of being labelled as one thing. And so I thought, I'm going to go to uni and I'm actually not going to need to come out at all.
Yeah.
Because everyone doesn't know me. Nobody
Yeah,
knows me.
yeah.
So I can just go in and be myself, start talking about dick, and people will just catch on. There's no...
That's how it happens. You talk about dick and there it is.
Exactly. Oh, he likes dick. Okay, yeah, sure. You don't have to come out to anyone. So I was adamant that, I'm going to just go in and be myself. And then being myself for a month or two, I realised I'm not bisexual. I'm fully a homosexual. And it was more, I think the realisation was being artistic, being an artist.
Mm.
It's really easy to recognise beauty in women.
Yeah,
Yes.
completely. 'Cause
You
that's
know?
what
Very
you're
much
taught,
so,
that's the
yeah.
canon, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
And to be able to notice beautiful things and the realization of being attracted to someone is not the same as finding someone attractive.
mm-hmm.
You know, there's loads of women that I find attractive, but I'm not attracted to them. And I think
I'm
like
still-
physically
yeah.
attracted to them, you know, they're very attractive. And it's the appreciation rather than
It's
the,
a really hard
you know.
thing to go through because like I'm still on my journey
Yeah.
sexual. Like I don't know what to consider myself sexually. And it's like because I've got that artist eye, I look at anyone, anything, and I'm like,
yeah, anything.
beautiful.
It's not at all linked
No.
just with people.
It's like, you give me a twig and I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, that's such a beautiful
look at the
twig.
moss there.
Yeah, like anything. Like, I love this
Look at the curve.
broken bit of metal. I had
We're
this idea. I was
desperate, aren't
working
we?
an event site in Wembley years ago, and all the guys, like girls, would walk past and be like, "Oh, she's fucking hot. Look at the ass on that." And one day I was just like, "Fucking hot. That guy is so smoking hot." And they were all like, "Oh, shut up, George." And I was like, "How come you're allowed to do it?"
Yeah.
Like, you must be able to see that that's a beautiful human.
Insecurity
Like,
coming out there with
yeah.
all those men. Yeah.
And it's like,
okay.
and it is weird. I think, as an artist, you're like, you see everything kind of in a more
That's
beautiful.
the comfort of our zone as well, because when we're all together, it's never really considered that perverse if we see something that is a sexual object and we go, God, that's a fucking lovely fucking vase. Or, you know, like, that's a lovely fucking phallus penis. Like, it could be a penis or it could be an arse.
Yeah.
It could be a pair of breasts. It could be it could be
Like,
a pencil.
literally anything.
It could
Yeah.
be
Like,
anything.
anything.
And we
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it as this beautiful thing that is beholden or, you know, should be plinthid. Plinthid?
Plinth.
Placed on a plinth.
Placed on a plinth. Thank you. Well, thank Duchamp for that one. But when going back to when we first met, we were chatting away, and like me and George are loud when we were working together, and we were having great crack. You were over the other side of the room, and we got chatting, and you were like, "You do this thing called a sensitive line." We looked it up, and we were just like, "Stop!
Oh, it's incredible.
Stop!"
Like, absolutely incredible.
Your life drawing is. I'm short for words. It's profound. It's beautiful, and
Thank
I got
you.
goosebumps again. Because your name for it matches it so well. The sensitive line, and it's very observant. It's very particular, and it's tell us about it.
How
Please.
did it start? Did you do lots of life drawing at college and stuff?
Yeah. So again, it's kind of tied to my sexuality. And I came to London with this, you know, sudden freedom,
Yeah.
you know, starting to hook up with people and you know, have that kind of buzz that you can't really get back home.
Where's back home?
Southend
Okay, I don't
in
know.
Essex.
I've
The
been there.
shit Brighton, essentially.
Oh, okay, great.
You know, no sands, mainly just pebbles and, you know,
I've been to an old folks
washed
home
up
there.
crap.
It was a very good old folks home. That's all I know about Southend.
it looks a bit sad now. The high street is just
So it's
on the decline. Yeah.
It's not the most out and out places.
No. It's
Okay.
you know, it's got its good things, which I can now appreciate not living there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had this sudden freedom, and I'd always loved drawing as a kid. It's always been the one thing that was encouraged, you know, and I went to life drawing. I did my first life drawing class in college. I was 16. And it was one of these, no one was going to look at me while we were drawing, none of my friends, because if they looked at me, I would probably make them laugh. And it was, so it was just this whole like giggle fest thing. And then I was good at it. And suddenly that was the kind of thing at college that people were like, oh, he can draw. And I think I probably started to take it a little bit more seriously then. Although I always had taken it seriously, but I enjoyed the praise, like we all do. We all
love
like
it.
praise.
It's nice, that little dopamine hit.
And, you know, so I wanted to do more. I loved life drawing, drawing something in front of you, someone in front of you, capturing that. And so I just went to classes and classes and classes outside of college. And then I went to London. I moved to London. And yeah, a couple of hookups, seen that I was drawing.
Yeah.
Can you draw me? I'm already naked. Can you draw me? Yeah, sure. Let's do it. So I started to draw people. I was having hookups with. And then I put it on Grindr as my like bio. Guys to draw, question mark. And then, I mean, initially it did very much like a ploy to just get people to take their clothes off.
Lovely.
Because the sensitive line didn't exist at this point.
Yeah, sure. But also
So
it's very sexy. It's like
Yeah,
the whole
it's
thing in
very
Titanic.
intimate.
It's very, it's
By the way,
incredibly
this does not
intimate.
happen on girl dating. Like if somebody was like, let me draw you, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen in the girl because we're just that little tiny bit more vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of envious of Grindr.
Yeah,
like for all of my
it's-
friends that have been on it. I know you missed it, George, because you're in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, it
but
didn't
my friends
exist
on
when we
Grindr,
hooked
there's
up.
a lot of
Yeah.
it's a lot more
Very upfront.
yes.
Upfront is the word. There is no, there's no beating around the bush.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless there is. It is very upfront. It's very much like that.
Like girl dating is like, I'll meet you at a coffee. My friend's going to be in the background. I'm just going to be dialing 99. And if anything weird happens and I press 9
My
again, don't
location
worry.
is on.
Yeah. I just don't want to die. I'm sure you're lovely, but I don't want to die.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, you were doing this sensitive line.
So
before sensitive
this is
line.
before, yeah. So didn't have an Instagram. I just had some pictures of my work that I could send on Grindr to be like, I can actually draw. I'm not just trying to get you naked.
Yeah, sure.
And then I started to draw, and it was going great. I was drawing lots and lots and lots. And then in the summer of the end of first year of uni, I wanted to put it somewhere. I had a place. I needed to find a place that I could share it, because otherwise, what's the point? It's great, but like I need to have it somewhere for it to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they're just piles and piles of drawings of dicks. So
Yeah.
So I was with my friend in Norwich, and we were sort of trying to come up with an idea of what to call it. And at this point, I was also not entirely comfortable with myself. I think I was out with my parents by then, but I was still not. I and the sensitive line were two separate people.
Okay.
So I created this kind of platform as like a protected veil type thing, some armor I could put on. I didn't put my face on there. In the stories, I didn't really show any of my own personality. I was sort of just putting work up. And that then became a sort of place I could direct people on Grindr as well, to be like, yeah, this is what I do. And then it was suddenly legitimized. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a place,
sure.
It wasn't just trying to get people in. So
It's like, I do something, we can talk about that before you get to me.
yeah, exactly. So, so I came up with the sensitive line, partly because there's also something going on at the moment, at that time. There was a protest about the censorship of Instagram.
Oh yeah,
And how it's
I'm
just
aware of that.
so,
It's gone a bit silly.
it targets the queer community so heavily.
Yeah.
So I was trying to come up with something that played on the word censorship as well.
Ooh. Clever.
So it's kind of, that's in there. And then, most of my work at that point was very linear. There wasn't much tonal stuff going on, but at the crux of it, everything's made up with lines, whether
it is very line heavy. I'm looking through your Instagram feed as we're talking here, and you're full of outline.
Yeah.
But also something that you do that I've always struggled with. I get goosebumps because I would keep getting goosebumps because I'm looking at this work. Weight. You add a lot of weight. And you're very good at showing if a muscle is tense in an arm.
Yeah.
That's a remarkable skill. And I'd love to know what goes on inside your mind to be able to put such action and weight into things. Like the dongs look heavy, some of them.
Yeah, no,
Do you know what I
it's
mean?
got like a real weightiness to it. It's sexy.
I
like,
can
it's
tell that
beautiful.
they're flaccid, and I can tell whereabouts in arousal they are. Do you know what I mean? And it's a really nice thing to look at. Like there's this one where a thigh is going over, and I'm like, I can see the tension of that muscle. So what do you see when you draw?
Yeah, well, I've always been interested in the classics of drawing, like Rembrandt and Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and all these just really solid classical ways of doing things. When I went to the UCAS fair, I was picking a uni, I came across the Drawing Atelier in London.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't government funded, so it wasn't an option.
No, okay.
But
good.
I was obsessed with the idea of doing this thing. So I've always thought, you know, and I've always been a detail orientated person. And yeah, I'm always looking to find that thing that other people aren't looking at or looking for. Yeah, so I'm constantly trying to find the
Is it motion? I
don't know. Yeah, there's a stillness to it. Trying to just capture something that's there.
There's a lot of
I think
something that kind of a theme that goes through your work that I really like is the limp wrist. Am I allowed comment on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, like it's something that I'm actually doing at the moment. I'm drawing a limp wrist, and I'm like, fuck, how the fuck does Phil do it? Can I just deploy him to come over and draw me a limp wrist?
It's here, you know.
It's because I can feel how relaxed these people are.
Relaxed in the weight as well. And also, I was talking to a friend of mine. I sent her some work by this incredible artist called Oliver Hemsley, who just draws himself. He's a disabled gay man, and he just draws pictures. It's like, but they're beautiful. And we had Rasheen and I had a discussion about how, because there is a history of painting female nudes, contemporary male nude illustration is often very heavily sexualized.
Yeah.
And it's pornographic, which is great. You know, love those images, love those drawings. Yeah. But I think what these images that you've drawn are so beautiful is that they're very sexual in some ways, and they're very sort of.
Well, they're open, but I wouldn't put it in the porn category. It's not Lorraine.
Yeah, like I don't generally.
But it's sensitive. Like it's there's something about them that is
cared for,
vulnerable and beautiful and masculine, but also not put into that category of kind of salacious, which there's nothing wrong with.
It's the depiction of an intimate moment, an intimate, relaxed moment. You know,
it is. It's all back to the limp wrist. It's all very relaxed.
Yeah, and I've gotten so much better at direction and being able to get what I need from someone who isn't a model. You know, because everyone that I'm drawing, 90% of them, maybe 95%. They're not models at all. They're just people, normal people. So,
and there's a vulnerability in being allowed in that modeling. I have so much respect for people who model for life drawing, because it's very like you're being seen, you're being watched.
But like your sitters, what do they feel like after they see?
Well, yeah. So I've had a few conversations now with people and how they feel so much more confident about themselves, which is really lovely. But it's usually very relaxed. It's very, it's chatty and calm, safe. And that's always really lovely. There's no, they're not professional models. So I'm not going to expect complete silence and complete stillness.
Yeah.
And I don't want to at all have that environment, because that is hard. That is really hard.
But also, I think it would create different work.
Yeah, exactly.
I think part of the reason your work is so beautiful is because you can see a conversation. You can see that intimacy. You can see that sort of connection. Yeah. Which is really important. Like, because you if you look at like a lot of work, you're like, you can tell that it's either with someone the artist knows or with someone they don't, or whether it's a model or whether it's all the old. Like Toulouse-Lautrec and stuff, when it was like young prostitutes and stuff, you can tell that there's a relationship there because it's
behind the eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
And lots of if you look at the atelier and the work that comes out of there, it's all beautiful. It's all very similar.
Yeah.
But at the models, if you look at them, they're all very stern looking, or very just neutral. Yeah. There's not usually a lot of emotion there. And so I want to kind of steer away from
There's
that.
There's quite a lot of gays in, like, excuse the pun. There's like, you've got something I've noticed as well about your work. You really like thighs, in particular the back of thighs, or there's some way that you draw that makes me just want to fucking bite into it.
Juicy.
Yeah, juicy.
Yeah.
It's like
I love a seated sitter. Seated sitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just recently, I've kind of fallen into this coincidental series of guys in chairs.
Guys in chairs.
Guys in chairs.
Guys in chairs.
I
love it.
But as I say, I've drawn a lot over the last year.
Yeah.
And all of it's been over FaceTime. Yeah.
How is that?
Yeah. Because I was drawing in person, and then
we had this pandemic thing.
A pandemic,
yeah,
lockdown.
That thing.
And I had seen a few drawing groups, doing stuff on Zoom, and I wasn't keen. I didn't like the idea of not having the creative freedom as I had before. Being able to direct a model and have that conversation about what they want to do, and
or even the basics of being able to offer somebody a warm drink or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, which is all the stuff that I enjoyed about it. It was a connection. It was that moment of getting to know someone and learn their music.
Oh,
nice! I love that.
Put their music on. Nice.
Yeah.
That's something that I do in my shoots as well.
Yeah.
And like, who was it? Portia introduced me to Carly B, and it's like. Cardi B.
Yeah.
I'm so old. And I was like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And you get so much from sitters from what their favorites
are. So
are.
that must help create an environment that they like to be in, because I love hearing what people are listening to.
Whether you like it or not, it's a nice insight into their life,
And 90% of the time I really enjoy what other people are listening to, and it helps to broaden my own music tastes. But yeah, so I started drawing over FaceTime because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't continue it in person.
Yeah.
So I set one up.
There's literally nothing else to do. You were training from, how the hell do you do a scenic degree?
Yeah.
Remotely? Is that possible?
Oh, is that what it is?
On reflection, no.
Because you're a great scenic, and like George didn't go to uni to do scenicking. I half did scenicking at uni. It's definitely an instinct. So like, there's only so much you can learn at uni. But to be honest, if you're paying for a degree in it, like,
there's a whole conversation there.
I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to badmouth Central. They're an incredible school.
No.
But like, and under the circumstances, how the fuck did you deal with that?
Yeah.
Of course, you did these beautiful drawings.
Yeah. So actually, I ended up mostly drawing in my third term of second year.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of when it hit. So I started to draw over FaceTime. I did my first session and it was fine. But I didn't really know how to direct the model in the same way, because you can't, with someone in the room, you can point and you can sort of direct them over here, and if their limp wrist isn't quite right, you can go and help them to just.
You
can literally, and their fingers as well, being able to just like move their fingers so that they're in a natural position.
Really natural. Yes, that's your thing, isn't it? It's
and
that
actually,
lovely natural hand.
I've really from drawing over FaceTime, I really worked on the directional skills because I'm now not just directing a model. I'm directing the model, the camera, the light, the position in the room, and with a phone as well. So they don't have a tripod. They don't have all these fancy lights.
Yeah, sure.
Unless they do OnlyFans, and they're probably kitted out.
God, OnlyFans. I've only recently, once again, like I'm pushing 40 here, so like I'm new to all of these things. I looked at OnlyFans because somebody was it was Dane actually. He was like,
really?
You should go on OnlyFans, and I was like, no, this is basically chatterbait. This is like, this is like selling. No, it's not my bag.
It's sex work.
Yeah, it's sex work.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it's not. It's not something
for
I need
everyone.
to do.
No. But the great thing about sex workers is that they've got the tripods and they've got the ring
kitted
lights.
up.
But also, I love that I love, like, even historically, just as like just a kind of romantic notion of the artist and the whore
We're two peas in a pod, aren't we?
Well, it's always been the case, like great artists would hire prostitutes to draw them, not have sex with them, and then whatever happened. Like,
and there's a similarity between an artist selling their work and a prostitute selling their body.
Yeah,
isn't there? Like, because your work is
intimate.
Is all of you, really. You're putting everything of yourself into your work. So
we get so widely criticised. Could you imagine if sex workers got so widely criticised? Like,
I think they probably do.
Well, they do. I
Do
bet
they?
they do.
Yeah.
Oh,
God,
I bet
I'm
there are.
so vanilla.
I
it's
bet there are
untrue.
forums about OnlyFans, like, oh, so and so.
Oh God.
Hey, do you
Yeah,
I like to think that
sex
everyone was
work
like,
have had a really raw deal.
They've had a really difficult time over lockdown, especially
Yeah.
because they've not, you know.
hello, demisexual person who's
And-
just not driven here. I'm just like, what's this world?
And actually, like 99% of the users on OnlyFans are sex workers. And just recently, OnlyFans announced that they were going to ban sexual content on their platform.
Oh, weird.
Ooh.
Because Visa don't like it.
Oh, do they not?
No. So all the credit card companies, they don't want to support it.
What are they? What are they Christian?
I don't know what
I don't understand. I thought money was the actual devil.
Well, yeah.
When you joke that they're Christian, they're probably like Republican Christians
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
shut it down with LGBTQI plus issues and
So
sex work.
what came of OnlyFans having to close
Well, everyone just started to go, well, we're not going to use it anymore. We'll find another platform. And then like week and a half later, OnlyFans released a statement that was like, sex work is very important to us, and we're gonna make because they suddenly realized that people were just moving to other platforms.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, we're kind of deviating from our usual structured questions because we're kind of covering them. I want to talk to you about your favorite things now, like your work. I like that you use brown paper. Can you talk to me about materials? And I know George will love this because he loves
obsessed.
materials.
Yeah.
I love brown paper.
It's such a beautiful canvas. It's what I paint on as well. I like a mid canvas.
I mean, mid-tones are always the best anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of like cheating, really, because you're already
It's
halfway
already half
there
done,
before
isn't
starting.
it? Like the canvas is already filled. I struggle with the white canvas because it's insulting to you. It's like, oh, do you think you're ready for me? Oh, do you think you can make me look good? And it's like brown paper is just like, do you
I'm
know
ready
what?
and waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Come in, make a
Such a
line.
nice way to put it.
The pencils are on the dresser.
You could use anything, really. I mean, it's easy.
I love brown paper.
What kind of brown paper? What weight brown paper?
Do you know what?
Talk to me.
I can't find, like, ideally I would like the best quality brown paper in the world, but actually I use the brown paper craft book from Paper Chase.
Okay, yeah. We all have that.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a really nice, it's got a nice texture to it.
Yeah.
It's
I've
nice
bought
to
you a
work
few
on.
pads.
Yeah,
of that.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
I would like to find something that's maybe a bit heavier, and that has some information on whether it's acid free or not. I still don't know whether this sketchbook is.
Like, this is something that I'm not informed enough about, but like, I don't know what's going to happen to my drawings in 10 or 20 years.
Well, yeah.
You know, like, and if I have all of these sketches and like my career drawing is now 35 years old. Like I've got this whole kind of bags and bags of things, and I take some things out and they've disappeared.
Yeah.
And I take other things out and they're still there. And I'm like, what the fuck did I use? What was this?
Yeah.
Because the paper and the materials that you use are actually kind of important.
Oh yeah, hugely.
Yeah. So like with photos, we can go back to, remember
Yeah. The paper.
The
I went to the Camberwell print shop and printed some illustrations, and Ra was like, that isn't a print. That's rubbish. That's trash. Like, here's, like, get in touch with these people, have it printed on rag paper. And you're right. Like, it has to be.
It absorbs the right amount of ink. It keeps the ink. It's gallery quality. That's really important. Can you talk to me about the gallery quality of what you do?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'd say I'd love to do prints at some point. I'm kind of on this journey of getting some prints made. I found this lovely company called Print.work.
Okay.
I think they're up in Leeds, that kind of way. But my issue is with brown paper work is trying to print that is not that easy.
It's not easy.
No, because you either print the brown.
The texture of the brown paper is a lot to do with the image.
Yeah.
Why don't you print it on that?
Well, again, good question. If you print it on brown paper, then the scan of the work is going to print brown paper onto brown paper.
Yeah.
So the brown will be brown on brown and then darker.
What about isolating the image?
Yeah, you could do that, but also
So do the drawing on brown paper, isolate the brown, make it white, scan it, and then print it onto...
Then you lose your white highlights.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, of course you do.
It's tricky. I really want to get some prints made. But
I think you may just be an original artist.
What I'm going to have to do, I think, is print on white paper.
Sure.
That's got a really nice texture to it. That when you print the brown paper onto it,
have you looked at Hamalula Rag?
I have.
Hamalula.
But also the other thing is, my audience is made up of younger people generally.
That's great,
which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that. But also, younger people don't have the money to buy Halululula prints.
Yeah, if you look at my website www.heatherbridge.com and you try and buy a print, you'll need a lot of money.
Yeah,
I think it is great for photographs.
yes.
I don't think it's great for illustration.
Well, you tried to illustrate on photographic paper. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No.
Well, I had some prints. I had some drawings.
You were experimenting.
That I then filled in with inks, and it just is so absorbent. It sucked everything up.
But that's the thing that beautiful print paper does is it holds so much.
Yeah. I think
with an ink with a printer's ink.
Yeah. I think when you're printing illustration, you don't need. You want like a kind of a flat cartridge paper. It's the best that I've worked on.
Oh, I don't know. I just don't know. Printing is really... You're going to have to try a lot.
It's a headache and a half.
Yeah.
And I found a shop in Islington that looks great, which I'm going to try at some point.
Go to the experts, they're going to know.
Yeah, and they're an old company that have been going a long time. And I was thinking maybe if I could get my work scanned there, I could then get the work printed on a good quality still, but not super expensive, so it can then be more accessible to my audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at the moment my work is bought mainly by older men.
Yeah, but that's all of us. Like my biggest clients are people over 40 because they've got money, and it takes that long to get money now. I don't have any money.
But you've got a lot of personality.
I do. I've got a lot of jip in my step. That's something actually we haven't talked about. You're quite young.
Yeah, I'm 23.
Yeah, you're 23.
Yeah.
Like that. but that's really exciting for you because like you've got a lot to kind of go through. And me and George are at this point in our career where we're just kind of like swinging with it, and having just had university and having all this experiment like fresh at your fingertips, that's so lovely and lush.
Yeah,
I'm so envious, but I love it. Do you know what I mean? And like meeting you and you being so fresh in all your techniques, I've forgotten so much of what you were talking about.
Don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, you lose it.
First, I did a job back in York at the beginning of the year for English Heritage, and the first 2 weeks of that was me just going, I don't remember how to do anything because I've not painted properly in a year.
Was that the bed?
Yeah.
You did the bed, yeah, because that's
what was
the
that
one
property called again?
I looked at the...
It was for English Heritage at Kirby Hall. They've got this exhibition there, and they wanted this 16th century king's bed, but where it was, Kirby Hall is quite exposed to the elements, so they couldn't use real fabrics. And
because the sun is a bastard.
Well, not just that, it's damp.
Oh, is it damp? Okay.
The fabrics would go mouldy, so they wanted to make this like 4-poster, ostentatious bed, but it couldn't be fabric, so everything had to be painted to look like fabric.
You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I saw that on your Instagram and I was like, yeah, that's how you fucking draw. That's where the draftsmanship comes in. And I think, being, although you weren't able to go into university, being able to draw for a full year.
Yeah.
Because it is, and I mean, I love drawing, but I do, with my work at the moment, I'm like, I have to go back to life drawing.
Yeah. Drawing is the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
Because being able to draw is being able to see. Mm-hmm. When you practice drawing, you're not just practicing putting pencil on paper. You're practicing looking at things really well.
Yeah.
Really, really well. You're really looking at the curve and the dip of the collarbone, and really
one of those things that you're really talented at, in particular with that bed weight.
Yeah, it all comes from drawing.
Yeah.
And actually I think I've done a little bit of sculpture here and there, and I did a little bit of plastering, and actually I think, and I picked it up okay, and I think it's because I can draw.
Yeah.
Because if you know how to look at something properly, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can notice when it's not right.
Yeah, you can see the proportion.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, you learn that, like, the first thing you learn about drawing is do 17 lines and your eye will tell you which one is right.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
and like
we all come from drawing.
It's the same. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're doing woodwork or you're sculpting something. If you can notice when something's off, then you've got a way better chance of learning how to fix it than you have if you didn't notice it at all.
Yeah, it's a funny place where scenics lie in the world as well, because professionals come in, like in particular when we were talking to Zoe Belton, when the producers come in from the BBC or they're standing behind you on a TV show like that, and you just say to them, don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they can't see any formulas, they can't see any proof. And you just have to tell them with gumption and confidence, I know what I'm doing, I can see it.
Yeah. But also the fact that you can see, what is being seen.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this job that I just did, there were bits, I was like, fuck, that's not quite right, but that's the back. I was speaking to a scenic the other day, and she'd done something identical on both sides.
Yeah.
And one of the producers walked past and was like, there's a scratch there. And she said, oh, don't worry, that's the back. And she was just, well, now it has to be. How it's going to be seen, so how you can put it so that it won't be. This reminds me
of something I might have been taught at Bruford, or maybe I made it up myself. And I remember I was doing a show and I was at Bruford, and the I don't know, the producer was like, oh, I don't know, it's not exactly perfect. And I was like, got an actor to stand in the middle of the stage, and I was like, look at the actor. What does the set look like? And they're like, it's fucking perfect. Okay, fine. Scratch it off. Tick the box. Because like that's something as scenics we have to remember, is that no one's going to be eyeballing it if it's on a stage. So like I always just like look at the model box or whatever, look at where the actor is, and then try and figure out what the background's going to look like or how important it is to get the detail right, or how much detail is needed. It's such a weird, specific job when you look at things with your side. I don't even know how to describe what I'm talking about. Is it making sense?
No, it is making sense, because it comes back to your drawings. It's like, it's the same with watercolor painting. So often it's what you don't put in. Yeah. It's the space. It's
what you leave out.
There's a few, I mean, your shading is like impeccable, but there's a couple of drawings on your Instagram which are just outlines. And it's about having that. I get in trouble with hands because I try and over-explain them. And if you just get 3 lines right, you're like,
hands.
And I've done it maybe 4 times in my life, drawn a hand that I've been like, that looks like a motherfucking hand. And it's normally 2 lines that I've done, and then left it. And that's the same when you're watching a show, like when you're scenicking something, it's what's not there that makes it all look like it should be there, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you've got to read like when you look at an image, when you look at a person, like I'm reading your face right now. If I was to draw you, I'd probably have very, very fair lines as I go down your body, and it would be all about your face. So you've got to think how the person is going to read that. Do you know what I mean? Like with my photography, I choose to focus on a certain part of the image, and there's a lot of darkness in my images, especially my old images. Like 2/3 of my photograph will be complete darkness because it doesn't matter, but it does matter. It fucking matters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
There's always going to be some information in that darkness or in the white or in the blank, but sometimes all that matters is just 2 lines. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
and that's seeing. That's
a comic artist, a graphic novel artist, Jim Lee. He does all the Batman stuff, and his style of work is very leaving stuff out. If you look at the faces, he'll do like the shadow under the nose.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And not the nose.
Yeah.
Or he'll do the edge of the eye, but he won't fill in the bottom of the eyelid. No, he doesn't need to, because your eye knows it's there. Your eye can do a lot of the filling in.
It's incredibly.
That's a lot like my photography.
Smart.
Like you've seen me edit images, and like it would be a portrait of somebody that, if it was on an A4 piece of paper, it would be a whole person sitting on a chair. But I still spend maybe 20 minutes, half an hour editing the eye. Yeah. So it is the first thing you fucking see. And it's the first, so the soul hits you. Everything else can be out of focus, can be a bit shit. It doesn't really matter once that bit.
Yeah, once you've got that. I've like noses, or they're like noses and hands. I mean, my noses are literally like a circle and a line. That's it. It's a nose. I'm done. And hands the worst. But I love when someone's just David Downton, who's a fashion illustrator, is incredible with watercolor, and he'll just do like this soft little brush stroke, like, oh, there's maybe some paint there, and it's a person, like it's Natalie Portman or
gesture.
Like,
the gesture in it
becomes that person because he's caught that essence of them. And I think that's so what the sensitive line does, like what your drawings seem to do is capture people in such a beautiful way. It's amazing.
So beautiful.
Gosh.
I'm very moved. We're all gushing over. But I remember I talked to you recently because I'm doing this portrait of Tim and Lauren. I got so caught up in the technicalities of it because I'm going through a bit of a hard time, and I was like, I don't need to be creative with this. I'll just block it all out. And I gridded it up and it looked dead. It looked absolutely dead.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Drawing expressively is fucking hard work. It's and for me it doesn't come naturally at all because
no, same with me. I'm really technical.
That draftsman. I am that block it out. Let's measure it all up.
Like if I could give any advice to people out there, it's always retrievable. A dead image is always something that you can just screw it up, like forget about it, fucking put it away, and then come back to it with your life, and that's like something that I forget that I have, and it's not natural.
And the being able to draw expressively and loosely is helpful in being meticulous, but being meticulous is not helpful in being expressive.
No. That's a portrait for the Queen is meticulous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like it's you need to be able to throw the pencil around.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what you said to me was like, just fucking draw some circles, scribble.
Yeah, well, just throw your arm into it, not just from the wrist, but just really try and.
The thing is, when you're a scenic, we're so expressive and we're allowed to do these huge big gestures, and it's so joyful. And then when it comes to drawing, I turn all of that off and I turn on maths and grids and all of this fucking shit.
Opposite problem.
Yeah, if we could meet in the middle, we'd be fucking Da Vinci.
And then when someone's like, I always get this at Christmas, can you draw my uncle? Can you draw my cousin? And it's someone I'll get one bad photograph, and it's not even like I've met. You
need to get 6 photos if you're going to do something.
Yeah, and it's not even someone that you've met before, and you're like, I'm miming drawing. This is a podcast. What am I doing? And I really, really struggle with that, translating an image from here to there. And Ra's always been like, just draw your grid, lay it down, do it properly. And I'm
we could because when George is drawing, and I hate that you say you can't draw people because he draws people perfectly. It's like he's done me, and it was so.
Yeah, but I've known you 15 years. Like actually, it's a different. That's a different thing. That like getting a photo of some random person's uncle.
Portrait that I was doing of Tim and Lauren. The first thing I did was the faces, and they were done in about 3 minutes. Yeah. I was like dun 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 because I know them. But doing a face of strangers, how do you do that? How do you capture that likeness and the spirit and the soul?
That's where the relaxed environment comes in, I think, and the chit chat comes in. Yeah, but knowing how to get the to direct people is like over FaceTime has been really helpful because I've kind of. And one of the things I always say to people is like, okay, I want them to hold their hand in a certain way and their fingers in a certain way but when you ask someone to move their arm and move their hand, they move it and then they hold it really unnaturally.
Yeah, it suddenly goes like that.
Yeah, because they're concentrating really hard on trying to get this hand in a certain way.
How do we direct people?
So what I usually do is I get them to put it in roughly the right position, and then I get them to take a really deep breath and then just let go and just sort of relax their arm and their fingers.
That's quite beautiful.
Yeah, and when their hand is then relaxed, I can then kind of say, right, well, your little finger, just sort of bring that in a little bit, and then the rest of the fingers tend to. I love a little curly little finger. Do tend to follow. You know, the fingers tend to follow round.
Curling hands are gorgeous, aren't they?
It's lovely.
And they look so beautiful.
Yeah.
A limp wrist. So beautiful.
It's like if you're listening to this, just look at the sensitive line. There's so many limp wrists, and it's just very inviting and it's soothing to look at.
I was really aware that I did it. I stand like a gay teapot when I'm concentrating really hard, and I'll be on a job site, and I'll just be like, yeah.
Gay teapot. He's gesturing like with one arm on his. And it is. You know what a gay teapot looks like.
It's that. the sort of claw, the like rounded handshake with the where your wrist bends around.
And a limp wrist.
Lovely, and a limp wrist.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I love a limp wrist.
So we've basically gone through everything, but we'd love to know what's ahead and what keeps you motivated.
Work. I'm a Capricorn at heart. I really am. Let me just get on with some work. That's what makes me happy. And I'm in this really nice position that I'm trying to figure out still, but it is great because when I'm doing scenic work, I'm earning money, la 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 la. And then when that goes, or a job finishes and I've got quiet time, which is yet to happen, but when it does, I'll be ready for it. And then I can just draw again and get on with the sensitive line.
Amazing.
I would like to find a balance with being able to draw and do scenic stuff at the same time.
I'm slowly finding a way to do it, and it's just...
Tell me how you're doing it, because I still struggle to find
I actually
the balance.
think part of it might be down to learning to drive. I'm learning to drive at the moment.
Oh, congratulations.
I want to see that too.
I think because my friend put it this way, when you learn to drive, you're not just buying lessons on how to drive, you're actually buying yourself time.
Oh my goodness.
It takes me 2 hours to get to Leavesden from home.
Yeah.
It would take me 25 minutes in a car.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, an hour and a half, that's 3 hours a day that I could be doing something else with. You know, I could be drawing.
Okay, learn to drive. I had 75 driving lessons. I just don't think I'm
that's
able.
not for you.
Me.
It's not for you.
Poor driving instructor was just like, I think you need to see an educational psychologist.
That's brutal.
It was great, but like I love that you're so young and what you're doing is so profound, and I know that it's now historical because it was done over the pandemic and it's going to stand the test of time for that. It's it's gorgeous. Such a pleasure to talk to you and have you on the podcast.
Can you let us? You've got 2 Instagrams, don't you?
I do. I have.
How can we find you?
So you can find me at scenic_Phil on Instagram, and that is all my scenic stuff. And then my sensitive line page is at the sensitive line, no spaces.
Amazing. Guys, everyone listening, please check both of those Instagram accounts out. They're absolutely phenomenal. And everyone go and do a bit of life drawing.
Yes, go and draw.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Even if you can't, like, or if it's not your thing, like, go and learn how to draw.
Or just draw a friend. They don't even have to be naked.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Don't even strip them off.
Don't even have to strip them off. Or do. Go and draw.
But you should.
Yeah, go and draw. It's fun.
Yeah, I do like drawing. I've been doing a bit of it.
And
recently.
also, I just sort of like slightly sort of sidestep. I hadn't life drawn in a long time, and I was very nervous about doing it again because I knew that I would have gone back ways in my abilities. And our lovely friend Sam Wire was going to a life drawing class, and he went, "Oh, George, just come with me." And I went with him, and just being with another person really put me at ease, took the pressure off.
Yeah.
You know, go with a friend, have a glass of wine afterwards. Don't be too precious about your first drawing. It will be crap.
And there are also...
you're not going to love the first work you do, right?
There are still online life drawing classes that are going on as well, so you can do it remotely.
Ruby with 3 Ys is doing one.
Candid Arts do an online class, I think.
And then Cabaret Life Drawing is one that I really want to get involved in, but it's on a Thursday night, and somehow I've been busy every Thursday for the last 6 months. I don't know why. It's so annoying.
You're just really busy, Phil. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you for coming. So, cocktail moment, guys. I am particularly excited about this time because we have Dane back with us, and it's Gin Week. I know we're not saying week, but it's Gin Week.
It's Gin Week in Georgeland. Dane, tell us about what's in front of us.
Right, so to start with, we have the Drunken Horse Gin. So these guys are from Belgium, and I love the design of what they were going for, the ideas behind the brand, the name as well, the Drunken Horse. Like that's something that's really cool.
It's a visual.
Yes.
It's nice, yeah.
And their bottle design, I think, is really cool.
So what we're looking at right now, we'll have a picture linked in the description or the notes or whatever, is the Leaning Tower of Gin.
Yes.
And Okay, so from a design point of view, the front of the label is kind of iridescent and bronzy, and then the inside that you can see on the other side is fucking coloured, so it doesn't look shite.
No.
And
that's such a beautiful design feature, isn't it? That you don't see the inside of the white label. It's
everything.
really cool.
Everything about it has been cared about, and that's why we love Dane, because you care about design in these booze bottles.
That's what we are, and we seek out these kind of brands that look for the same thing. But also, if you look inside the bottle, you'll notice it says "Discover the Unknown." So
nice.
Oh, that's totally what you're
I
about.
fell in love with this bottle when we were on the shoot with Callista at the Century Club.
Right, yes, I did
because
bring
it's
it
been a
with me.
busy day. We'd had some champagne. We'd all been running around. And you know that thing where you miss a step and your whole body goes like tilts? I looked at that bottle and I did it because I thought
It was just
I genuinely,
I'm hallucinating.
I was like, oh no, what's happening? And it just made me chuckle. I was like, that's a really beautiful, it's beautifully proportioned, it's lovely design.
It belongs in a place like the Century Bar as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, completely.
It's really delightful. Do you know what I mean? It's like 16 million thousand miles away from Tesco's own brand gin.
Well, yeah.
It's quite literally the other level.
It's
The
the
other
opposite
side of it.
end.
Yeah, it's complete
Like, I
opposite
don't
side
think
of it.
I've seen anything so dynamic, so modern, yet so classic. It's fucking cool. Can we drink it?
Of course we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that. Do you want to tell us about the other one we're going to try?
So this one I find to be very, very fun. It's called OMG, which stands for Oh My Gin.
Oh, my gin.
Oh, my gin.
Yes, and they also have another kind of finer gin that they call OMFG. So that's called Oh My Finest Gin.
Oh, my finest gin. That's
Yes.
great.
So
And once again, it's got a beautiful bottle that's nice to hold. It's a good size. And it's got a really modern yet kind of retro-looking font. And it's just nicely balanced as a design, and I really love that.
But also, it's literally like they knew what they were doing in terms of labeling, because they just want you to look at that and just have a little laugh.
Yeah,
to yourself
exactly.
And just go,
You know what it is? It's a nice
pick it
thing
up.
to share with friends, because it's a
absolutely.
giggle.
There's
it's
nice
it's
humour in it.
friendly.
Gin bottles, there's something very irreverent, funny, dystopian about gin. And I think gin brands can really play with the bottle in a way that other brands maybe couldn't, because there is that element of sort of joy.
Gin and tequila, I know
comedy.
exactly what you mean. But I think when it comes to gin specifically, because gin is so... Wait, hold on. Because gin is so... There's so many gin brands out there.
Yeah.
So for you to stand out, you have to do something a little bit different. I think it's the easiest spirit to make. But these two, I'm hoping you'll find are of a certain quality. That's
Very excited. So we've each got a couple of... I went for jam jars this time.
Ah, brilliant.
Because I just thought that was quite ginny. And I thought we could maybe...
Go for the Drunken Horse first.
Drunken Horse first. And should we do a neat tasting?
Yes, please.
And then you've got some lovely mixes for us.
Yes.
I like that. Say horse again.
Horse.
And we say it the same. That's quite funny. Horse.
Well, I'm half Jamaican.
Yeah,
so,
we've
have
got
some
the similar
crossover,
Irish,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
So the Drunken Horse, it's made from timut peppers that are in the Himalayan mountains.
Which peppers?
Timut.
Oh, wow.
So Timut. Yes, from the Himalayas, and this brand itself is brewed in Belgium. So the owners of this brand, I really like them. They're so cool. They're so interesting and arty and funky, and you can literally taste their entire experience coming through what they've made here. It's such a beautiful.
That
product.
smells like an absolute dream.
What does it smell of? I can't name. It's like herby almost.
I would say almost, it's like it is quite junipery, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Like,
that's the
it's
thing.
the real, but you don't like, I think, because obviously I think you don't often get that with
It's
a gin.
almost like- it's almost like
everyone,
gin-
because everyone
well-
sort of puts it like you're with junipers make gin, but then
Yes.
when you get that real smell, like it's so
It's almost
nice.
like the Geneva. Is that Geneva? The stuff that's like gin that you can get in Holland.
Holland.
Yeah.
No, but again, this is from a very special kind of pepper. So this is the timut pepper in the Himalayas. So
I don't want to drink it because it smells so good.
Oh, I want to drink it.
they also have a small package of a small pepper shaker that comes with just the fresh pepper itself, the fresh berries. So if you get a taste of that, you get both elements of this refined product that they have, but also the natural thing where it came from.
Gorgeous.
So you have a smell of it, a taste of it, and then literally taste it after, and it just changes the flavor profiles of everything.
It's so smooth.
Just the smell of delightful. It smells delight. I'm going to try it. I'm trying it. It's going
That's
in.
yeah, and you get that pepperiness at the back of your mouth, like it's Really interesting.
It's bloody delightful. I'm going to say it's delightful. Good call with the jam jars, because that's a bit of sensory nonsense as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, we like
everyone.
that. Cheers.
Yay.
So that's the Drunken Horse. Shall we try OMG?
Yes, let's go for the OMG.
This is another thing we should always say. Enjoy your booze responsibly. Drink water in between each glass, and
Yeah, don't forget to not drink water.
Yeah, that's something I've learned later in life now that I have 7-day hangovers. Oh, yes, please. Is that I am much more careful about how I enjoy my booze, and I tend to go to bed at 9 o'clock in the evening after 2 drinks. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you should do that as well, but, enjoy being hydrated in an early night.
Yeah, keep hydrated.
Oh My Gin has a tough act to follow. Like this is,
It kind of does. So this is more
but it smells completely different.
It is completely
different.
So again, it's just the process of making it. This is more of a Czech approach to gin, if you will. Very high end, very hand-selected botanicals. Yes, it is a bit spicier. I think they have mixed berries when it comes to this as well, but everything is made in the Czech Republic. And I just really love the name. I love the fact that they went for this thing that just screams fun and interesting.
Yeah.
OMG, because why not,
It's great. It's so zeitgeisty. It really taps into something that people play around with a lot at the moment. I think it's really clever.
It's something I'd want to gift to somebody. I'm still smelling. I just want to have a look at the label and see how it corresponds to what I'm smelling.
That's beautiful.
That's a really unusual...
Has it got fennel seeds on the label?
Mm-hmm.
Look at me knowing what a thing is.
This is wild.
Again, we don't skimp on quality. So even like
Jiminy
the ones
Crickets, that hits you.
There you go.
Not in a bad way. That's like
Of course,
flavour.
it's amazing.
But I think it's an
amazing
interesting thing, isn't it? I think sometimes when you try alcohol, like it burns and it's harsh, and it's like that has huge impact, but is still very smooth.
That's
and
the
like
whole point.
very like it's.
I'm hit by botanicals, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah. That's and like the thing is, I love that now that I've tried it. The label that I'm looking at, they're now so well married. And there's all kinds of. I'm so happy and slightly tipsy.
It tastes wild. Like it tastes like everything that's gone into it has been foraged or found, or like it's got a real like herbaceous, grassy, spicy quality to it.
Oh, these guys know absolutely everything that they're doing, and I find it interesting as well that they went for such a fun and cool label, but the product itself is top shelf.
You can have a sense of humour when you're making shit that good.
Of course,
Yeah, you really can.
Of course
You can afford to enjoy yourself. I mean, as well, like, just to put it in context for our listeners, we're sat in our favourite place in the whole world, Hello Darling, and it suits this place quite well.
It really does, doesn't it? Like all of the foliage and the painting and the
It's quite eccentric, and this
stuff.
feels eccentric.
It's very cool.
This is a very artistic drink, and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you
No problem.
for a lovely gin moment.
Artists that drink.
Artists that drink.
Cheers.
Responsibly, in bed by 9 and very well hydrated.
I've never not had a glass of water between every cocktail I've ever drunk in my life. Obviously.
Speaking of gin as well, you have to speak about mixers, and I have to speak about our partners, Double Dutch. So these girls are amazing, amazing, amazing people. They came across with us with the Drunken Horse Gin, and they make a really good partnership with them. We are very fortunate to be on their store.
Who are the people that do it? Double Dutch is nice. Once again, it's got 2 girls on the cover.
So they're twins. They're Dutch girls, obviously. And they've been Forbes listed 30 under 30 twice. So once this year and once again in 2018. Kind of makes you feel like you're wasting your time.
Oh,
as
giving
someone
me
who's older.
goosebumps.
We've got...
No, never.
We've got 3 different
Can we cut them open?
flavours.
Of
course you can.
So we have the traditional Indian tonic water.
Yes.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
I can't stop having goosebumps.
This one's rhubarb and pine needle.
You have to try that one first, especially with the OMG.
And then the rhubarb and pine needle. Let's try it. Because that was what I thought as soon as I saw it. I was like, that goes with the OMG.
Okay, so what
And
flavour?
then this one is pomegranate and basil. Stop it. So we're just going to have a bit of a play now, a bit of a mix around.
Is this one just plain?
Yeah, that one's plain.
So
let
we
me
put
try
the
that.
gin
A
in.
little bit. Hold on. Let me
Oh, I love you guys. So we put it in the gin.
mix it directly into your mouth.
What is my...
Oh, I love a tipsy raw. So we put the gin in.
Let's put the gin in. Or am I anything?
Can that be the name of this episode? So we put the gin in.
So we put the gin in. Yeah, definitely. I get tipsy so fucking quickly. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
I've gone
wow.
bright red.
So this is the rhubarb and
What am I trying? Is this it, or is
rhubarb
that it?
and pine needle with the OMG gin.
Literally, I've smelt a lot of booze. I'm just like...
This is delightful. That's sensational, actually.
What am I...
And it
is
works.
this what I'm trying?
That's you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, darling. I can't fucking...
This is where, like, I find it really interesting with stuff like this because a lot of this kind of stuff has popped up recently.
Yes.
And there were a couple of really great brands, and then everyone started doing it, and now it's very difficult to find really sort of key players with high quality products. And that
absolutely.
that is a smash hit,
Mix of
delightful
everything.
mixer.
Again, these girls are amazing. They're Forbes listed for a reason, and we're really lucky and fortunate to have them on board with us in terms of our drink efforts in the UK.
If there's something that you didn't know about Ra, if I had to live anywhere else in the world besides London, I would be with the Dutch people, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
There's something very soothing about them, and they just
I
know
can
how to do their
imagine
thing.
that.
They're like, yes, I'm an artist, and I'm not insecure about that. They're all like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can genuinely see you just like sat in a Vermeer painting, like.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just
That would
like
make me
totally see
happy.
you.
I need to try this and not just drink it. Hold on.
Do you know what? I drink a lot of gin,
Right.
and I love a garnish, and I mean, I wouldn't even think to
Do
put
you know
a
what,
garnish in that.
if I
like,
put
I
something in
wouldn't
it-
It's
add,
not necessary.
I
It's
wouldn't
not
add anything
necessary.
to that. I wouldn't want to slice a lemon because you don't need to.
If I had
Oh,
to
is
put
that them?
Yep, that's them.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They're lovely, yes.
Look at those smiles.
So if you Google the Double
Super
Dutch
cool.
Yes, they're
girls,
amazing
they're
girls.
just, it's a really pleasant, welcoming duo.
Yeah, life is unfair.
And the
isn't
same
it?
thing. Did they?
Forbes listed.
I mean, with stuff
Beautiful,
like this,
young,
are
everything.
they in supermarkets? Is this something we can only get through you? Like, how would you go about?
No, they've been around for a while, to be honest with you.
Okay,
We've
cool.
just been fortunate enough that they like our efforts of what we're doing and how we represent ourselves and our connection together in terms of just bringing special things together. Like it kind of was inevitable, if you will.
Tits, that's delicious. I'm just gonna make another little one because I need to try it.
I mean, what I find interesting is I'd never think of pine needle as an ingredient, but clearly they did, and it
No,
works.
and isn't it funny because
fragrant.
you get it in candles, you get it at Christmas.
That's true.
There's nothing Christmassy about that.
No.
it's fresh and alpine.
Do you know what I'd
and-
put it with if you're scared of trying a pine needle flavour? I'd put it in the same category as rosemary.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
And if I was to put a garnish in there, I'd stir it with a sprig of rosemary.
Nice. I went to the Imbibe Festival a couple of years ago before it
right.
closed, and you walk down Gin Alley, and you end up trying like 50 different gins, and by the end of it, you're wrecked, and you can't remember any of them.
Sorry, but how do people do shit like this? Because if I was there, I'd have 2 samples and I'd be like, I'm blackout drunk, I need to go home.
Well, you do see all these people like staggering
Yeah,
around
just going
Imbibe,
around,
just
yeah.
like.
I think they're counting on it, to be
But
honest.
you know, I really don't.
Yeah, I think they are.
I honestly don't remember tasting anything as memorable or as unusual as either of those products.
All right.
Like they're really sensational gins. I've got to go home and rethink how I buy gin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gordons. We've had to say goodbye to you now.
Bye
Yeah,
now.
I would hope so.
Bye
I
now,
would
bye
hope so.
bye. Sorry, we only drunken horse now, and oh my god. Or oh my gin. It's on my G.
Oh my G.
Oh my,
I love
Is
OMFG
it
as well.
I know,
It's
that's-
so good.
it's-
My
Is
finest
it-
gin.
Oh,
beautiful.
OMG is
Yeah.
45%.
All right. Are we really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Let's ignore that.
I'm having a lovely time.
Okay, so before we end this cocktail moment, which has been like a really fun one, where are we looking for these products? What are we doing on social media? How can we get involved?
Right, so we are as Eon Black and Key Drinks online. Eon Black Creative on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you need to be. Same thing with Key Drinks. So Key Drinks currently, Key keydrinks_Austria, and we'll have a keydrinks_UK soon.
Okay, great.
Oh, amazing. And can we buy these products on there?
Of course.
Yay.
So not just online when we have our web store ready, but also with the Double Dutch. They have their own website, so Double Dutch Drinks, and you'll find the Drunken Horse there along with our rum Nativo.
I find it so charming that you say horse the same as me.
It's so nice.
It's
And
lovely.
honestly, like a lot of our listeners know that I have a huge thing about gin. Go out and buy either of these gins, get a bottle, give it to your family. It's a real treat. It's worth investing
It's a
in.
piece of art.
It's a piece of artwork. Yeah.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yay.
Did we do a favourite thing? Do you have a favourite thing?
A favourite thing?
Yeah.
A limp wrist.
Gorgeous.
Wonderful. George, what's your favourite thing?
My favourite thing are my new Zandra Rhodes for IKEA cushions.
Okay, fair enough.
What's your favourite thing?
Soap. Love it.
Soap.
It just makes things clean. I've got a 5-year-old. There's lots of things happen, but soap
Perfect.
fixes so many
Soap.
things. Well, look, thank you for tuning in to Artists at Work. This is capping off this season, actually. We're going to we're kind of in a moment of flux while we're organising our lives. So we will be back, obviously before Christmas, because let's face it, we're festive.
we'll be
We're
back in
festive.
December with our Christmas hats on.
But please support us via Patreon, www.patreon.com/artists@work, and send us loads of money because, let's face it, these things cost money.
We have shut down a lot of our social media at the moment just because we need a bit of space and a bit of time off. But if you do want to get in touch with us, please email artiststhatareworking@gmail.com. Questions, photos, pictures of your life drawing, anything you want. Get involved.
We love people's inspiration.
We love people
Yeah.
getting in touch with us.
Yeah. Sending loads of love to all of you and a lot of our friends and our new listeners in Kenya and Belgium.
Oh yeah, we're going global, baby.
Yeah, we really are. We've not. Our listenership is going up in Africa, so I really quite like that because it's somewhere I've not really explored, and I'm just like, oh, I feel like I'm kind of there in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of lovely. So
We should do a road trip.
oh my God, can't we?
Artists at Work to Africa.
Oh my God, it would be amazing. Could we start in Zimbabwe, where
Think of the
our friend
fashion.
is from?
Think of the jewellery.
Oh my God, we'd have so much fun.
Right, we'll be back from Africa.
It's a whole big place, so it might take us some time. But sending loads and loads and loads and love to all of our friends, family, and listeners out there. We love you all.
We love you all. Thanks again, Phil, for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.